In 1914, young Captain Arnold Arnott was returning from London at a congress to Sydney, and he wrote a chorus. And the chorus became so popular that then he wrote some verses. He did it the wrong way around, but never mind, that's the way it goes. Now, we know the chorus very well, but the verse maybe isn't quite so well known, so we're going to have the words up on the screen. And I've asked the bandmaster just to play for the introduction instead of the last 4 bars as we have. He's going to play a few bars of the verse, and then we're going to stand and sing. All right? Thanks, bandmaster. Okay, let's stand to sing. It was 1962, and we had been living in Santiago in Chile for some time, and one day I received a letter from New Zealand from a bandsman a fellow who used to sit next to me in the trombone section in the Wellington City Band. And in the letter, he didn't write to me usually, so it was unusual to get a letter from him. But in the letter he said, "John, I was standing in a bank line today, irritated that the bank line was so long, and I was busy, and I had a lot of things to do, and it didn't seem to be moving. So as I stood there, I just looked around, and suddenly my eyes fell upon a counter that said, 'Overseas Exchange.' And in that moment, something said to me, 'Go and send to John Bate all the money you have in your pocket.' So he said, I left the line and I went over to the exchange counter, and I said to the lady, 'I would like to buy a bank draft to send to Santiago in Chile. And the lady said, fine. Who's it to? He said, it's to John Bate. And she said, how much is it for? And he said, I don't know. And he put his hand in his pocket, and he pulled out everything he had, and he put it on the counter. Now, in those days, we had pounds, shillings, and pence. And so they sorted through. He had almost £6. So there was enough to buy a £5 bank draft. So he gave her the money. She gave him the draft, and now it was attached to this letter he sent me. And he said, you can do with the money whatever you like, but I just felt I should send it. Now, we didn't get money quite like that, usually. In the next office to me was a good friend, a lifetime friend, who's known to some of you now as a retired commissioner living in London, but he was just a young captain, Captain Siegfried Clausen. And so we talked about this money, what we would do with it. Now again, in the trombone section of the Santiago Central Band, next to me, was Fernando. Now money, was pretty scarce in those days. We received $17.60 a month. And we had our house provided. Fernando, he didn't have a house provided. He wasn't an officer. And I knew he received less money than we received. So we decided, Siegfried and I, that this was Friday. What we would do on Monday, we would go and buy milk powder, because that's half our salary went on milk powder for the baby. And so we decided we were going to go and buy some Nestle's Nido milk powder. We're going to buy 4 cans we could with this 15,000 pesos, the £5 became. And so this was going to be it. We were going to have great fun. We were going to go and buy the milk powder, put it on that was the only vehicle we had at THQ, was a little truck. And we were going to put this on the truck and then go to Fernando's home in the suburbs, and we were going to put the tins of milk powder at the door. And then we're going to knock on the door, hop in the van, and run away. I thought my friend in New Zealand, Paddy Bracegirdle, Robbie, Paddy would like that. And so this is what we decided we were going to do on the Monday. But on the Sunday afternoon, we were in our home, which was at the back of the main hall on the compound. And Fernando came down the path. And he was early, which is very unusual in South America, because no one is early for anything. But he was early for the open air, well over an hour early. So I said, Fernando, come and have some coffee with us. So Fernando came in, and we sat and we chatted, and eventually I felt led that I should tell him about the escapade we were going to go on the next day. And he said to me, Capitan, that is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. But I said, Fernando, we haven't bought the milk powder yet. If you would rather have the money, by all means. No, Capitan, no. He said, the milk powder is fine. So I said, Fernando, I really mean this. I have the money right here. I could give it to you. He hung his head a little bit. And then he said, Capitan, would it be all right if I took the money? I said, Fernando, if it wasn't all right, I wouldn't have offered it to you. So as I put my hand in my pocket to pull out the 3 5,000 peso bills, he put his hand in his pocket and he pulled out 2 pieces of paper. They were medical prescriptions for their little girl, Matita. He said, I've been carrying these around since Wednesday, but I just don't have the money to buy the medication. As I gave him the money, Fernando said to me, Capitan, you may think this money came from New Zealand, but I know it came from above. Now, my dear friends, I have told that story dozens and dozens and dozens of times around the world. And I can say, in all honesty, I have never told that story as an appeal for money. Because, as I think about it, the money is almost incidental to that story. Do you know what I think is the crux of that story? Is that a man, a salvationist, thorough Christian, a businessman, with so much upon his mind, was open to the movement of God's Spirit. So much so that he could open his pocket at the guidance of the Holy Spirit. God moves in a mysterious way. His wonders to perform. May God bless you.